Hey everyone! In a previous video series, we talked about how to use Django to serve HTML templates. In this video, we will be talking about how to use Django without using templates. In this situation, the front end or whatever the user sees is now a separate thing from our Django applications. This makes our applications agnostic to what UI you are going to use. It could be a mobile UI, it could be a website. It doesn't matter. Django will just be used to serve our data. And to do that, we are going to create RESTful APIs from our Django applications. So what is Django? What is a RESTful API? Why do we want to use it? And a quick introduction to how to do it in Django is are the topics to be covered in this video. So before we dive into what REST is, let's talk about the constraints of REST. Let's talk about what it means. REST stands for Representational State Transfer. This is an architectural style for applications that was created in the early 2000s to give suggestions as to how to architect applications over HTTP. It is made over HTTP but not necessarily needing to use HTTP. Okay, it is made up of 6 constraints, and if you do follow it, you are technically creating a RESTful API or application programming interface. Okay, so before we talk about these 6 constraints, let's talk a little about terminology. Okay, so in REST, a resource is any entity that can be named. Generally, it would have a specific address or link, and the representations are self-descriptive. So if you have users, you have the URL or the representation, the name of it would be something like student, and then whatever separate identifier would have users / whatever identifier. If it was a student, you would want to use the noun student. Okay? And then resource methods. Resource methods are used to transition the states of resources on the server. Okay. Resource methods are not necessarily equal to HTTP methods, but it is the commonly used way of doing it. So like I said, there is no need to strictly adhere to HTTP because that is a protocol. REST can use any other protocol if you wanted to, but HTTP is the most common one. So there's no need to strictly adhere to the verb usage as long as it is uniform. The main goal here is to have everything in a uniform manner. So for example, post requests technically create resources, but if in your organization post is agreed upon to be used for other methods like updating resources, so be it. There's no harm in doing it that way. So with that, let's move on to our 6 constraints. The first constraint is the client-server constraint. What this means is that the user interface concerns are separate from data storage. This enables the simplification of server applications or backend applications. The second one is that requests are stateless. Okay? Each request contains all of the information necessary to carry out that request. So this may include some credentials in the head, in the metadata, to know if you are allowed to do it. However, these are not stored in the client, in the server. Instead, these information are stored in the client, so it is sent together with the request. if the request needs it. Third, the data must be cacheable. Again, this information is sent through metadata, and in the common use case of using HTTP, it is sent through HTTP headers. The next constraint is that each resources should have a uniform interface. The manipulation of these resources are done through different representations and hypermedia, aka content that links to other types of media, is the way to actually change application state. So what this means is you are sending out, or through links, for example, you are changing application state, because when you are requesting something to a separate URL or link, these URLs actually contain or require you to have a certain set of data to use, or to use together with it, to use together with the request, and the server will determine what to do with it. So and that could include updating the resource. So updating the state of your application through through updating the resources. Okay. Next, the application is composed of hierarchical layers, and each layer can only see the next layer. Okay, so this is a little beyond our scope, but the idea here is that, for example, our UI is only can only deal with the interfaces in Django that it could access, which is the URLs. It doesn't matter how the data is stored. It doesn't know what the data or what database that data is stored on. Okay, it only cares that it has those URLs. And then Django would only care about the database engine, but it doesn't really matter what type of server it's running on. It could be running on an Apache-based server, an Nginx server, doesn't care. Okay, and an optional constraint is code on demand. So the idea here is that additional scripts can be downloaded by the client so that there's not a big payload initially. Okay, so the base use cases are covered, but additional can just be downloaded. So what I keep reiterating is that REST is not HTTP. Okay, REST is an architectural style, and HTTP is a protocol. So why do we want to use REST? Aside from the fact that it's commonly used in industry, so that REST, the reason why the industry uses it is because it allows the client to be independent of the server. Okay. The idea here is that if the business, for example, wants to create a native mobile application, probably a desktop application, and a website that would technically serve the same purpose but would have different target markets, it is easy to do so because the client is independent of the server. The server just produces the data. Okay? You have different clients but the same server. And by doing that, it is simpler to build stuff out. This is smaller learning curve, and it's easier to reason about. Okay. So how does that look like? With Django templates, what we were doing was technically server-side rendering. First, your HTML is rendered by the page, is rendered by the server, the browser that is sent to the browser. The browser renders that page, and it is now visible. And then the browser downloads other necessary scripts. It probably executes it executes those scripts, and now you can interact with the page. Okay, so that is the typical workflow when you are serving render side. Now, if you are rendering client side, the idea is the browser just sends, the server just sends minimal HTML, and then the browser uses or executes the JavaScript that it downloads to pull data and then make that page dynamic. So the images I'm showing you are specific to a UI framework, specifically React, but it is how everything generally goes with other frameworks and other types of clients. Okay. So in Django, to do this RESTful APIs, we use a framework named, or a library named Django REST Framework, or DRF. So it is a library used to create a REST API, like I said, and it uses serializers to create resource representations of our models and view sets to serve these resources. Okay, so with view sets, you actually already have all the methods that you need without writing anything out manually. Obviously, you could override whatever the view sets are doing, but out of the box, some classes already do everything for you. And that is what we are going to talk about in the next video.